The following is a special presentation of Fairfield University student media outlets, the Ham Channel, WVOF, and The Mirror.
All right, Senator, first off, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the three media organizations on campus, including radio station WVOF, the Ham Channel, which is filming it, and of course The Mirror for coming. It's not often that we bring a U.S. Senator in here, and we appreciate you stopping by.
Delighted to be here. I am a former college newspaper editor, so I always have a special responsibility.
The Yale Daily News, fine publication. Right. I'd like to start with an issue that I think directly relates to the students here at Fairfield. The cost of attending a four-year private university like this one has soared now to more than $40,000 a year. Federal Pell Grants, however, have been frozen at just over $4,000 a year since 2003. Now, your opponent in this race, Ned Lamont, has proposed to raise the maximum amount allowed per student per year in the federal Pell Grant program to $5,800 per year, an increase of 43% from the current figure. Are you in favor of raising that figure? And if so, by how much do you propose it be raised?
Yeah, this is real important. I'll just say the obvious first, that not only individuals, but the country as a whole benefits the more people are able to go through college and be educated, because they're more productive. They're able to take care of themselves. They end up being the innovators that create the new opportunities, that create whole new industries. Too many people in America today, young people, are finding it impossible to go to college because they can't afford it. And a lot of families are putting themselves under tremendous burdens of debt because they have to borrow money to pay for the kids to go to school. The Pell Grants are one of the best programs created. They, as you know, are grants. They're not loans. They go to students who qualify on an income basis for them. This is a fight that I've been involved in for years, particularly in the 5.5, 6 years of the Bush administration, where they haven't done enough to raise the grants. I, in fact, have legislation in, I believe, co-sponsored with Senator Dodd, to increase the Pell Grants to $11,000. And that's a significant increase. It's about a doubling of what they are, more than a doubling. But when you talk about the total cost being $35,000 or $40,000, $11,000 for a low-income family is not a lot. Just add a final word to this. The dropout rate of minority students in colleges is well over 50%. And that is a terrible waste of talent. And every study I've seen says that the overwhelming majority of minority college students who drop out for financial reasons. So those are the ones who are probably going to benefit most from a substantial increase in the Pell Grants, which I support.
You've been supported in this race and endorsed by a number of elected Republicans from the beginning. Among those Republicans, Congressman Christopher Shays, whose district includes Fairfield. When you were running for the Democratic primary in this seat, you endorsed Congressman Shays' opponent, Diane Farrell. Does that endorsement still stand? And if not, why have you changed your mind since the primary?
Yeah, no, the endorsement still stands. But as I've said, I've got a lot to do in my race for re-election. I'm running as an independent Democrat. I don't have a political party organization behind me. So I've got to do a lot of extra work to reach out to as many voters, Democrats, Republicans, and independents as I can, to ask them to give me the privilege of representing them, working for them, delivering for them in the Senate for 6 more years.
There are a couple of statements that are made by Mr. Lamont in the last couple of days. I'd just like to read them to you and give you a chance to respond. He was up your alma mater, Yale, on Wednesday, and one thing he said, and I quote, "Today America is weaker, not stronger, because of the invasion of Iraq. We have sacrificed our daughters and our sons and our treasure in a war we did not have to fight. We have ignored the real threats, the real threats and security needs in the war we should be fighting, the one against the terrorists." What do you say to those like Mr. Lamont and those like most of the members of the Democratic Party in Washington who say that in deciding to invade Iraq, President Bush has weakened and not strengthened our national security?
No, I respectfully disagree. I mean, the fact is, in the Senate, certainly, the majority of Democrats supported the invasion of Iraq to overthrow Saddam Hussein. He was a danger to us. He was a danger as a dictator, a mass murderer, an invader of two of his neighbors, a supporter of terrorism, and a hater of the United States of America. So we're safer with him out. The problems began after Saddam was overthrown in the mistakes that the administration, the Defense Department made. Too few troops, American troops in Iraq, too hasty a disbanding of the Iraqi army, too slow in bringing the Iraqis into controlling their own government. I could go on and on. But the point is that's history, and it will be debated for a long time, and historians and history will ultimately pass the judgment. The question is, what are we going to do now? And that's the choice that the voters have, that Lamont and I are giving them. He says he wants to get out by a date certain, tell our enemies and our allies that we're leaving. I say that that will make the situation infinitely worse. I'd also say that every time I've been to Iraq or meet Americans who have served there, insofar as he's talking about our soldiers, including conversations I've had with families that have lost a loved one in Iraq, they talk about their pride in what the soldiers are doing and have done, the sense of purpose and commitment they have, and their plea to me that we do not end this in a way that dishonors the service of all who have gone to Iraq wearing the uniform of the United States military. And that's, I want to get out of there probably more quickly than most people do because I've supported the war. But I don't want to end it in a way that leaves Iraq and us more vulnerable to terrorists than we are today.
Briefly, a lot of people have said that Iraq, and you've made this statement to some effect, saying that Ned Lamont is a single-issue candidate. His candidacy is completely dependent on his opposition to the war in Iraq. But for those voters who may be unhappy with the war but who are still open to voting for you anyway, on which particular domestic or social issues do you believe you are the best candidate in this race?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I mean, Ned Lamont has run a single-issue campaign. He's talked about other issues, but nobody believes that he would have had a chance in the Democratic primary if it were not for Iraq and not just the opposition to President Bush, which I've shared in most cases, but the personal hatred of President Bush that's felt by a lot of Democrats. Here's a big difference beyond that one issue. I have a record of results. I've been the senator 18 years, and I'm proud of what I've been able to do. We talked today about what I've been able to do in the last 5 years since 9/11/01 to make America safer. I was in the middle of the effort to save 31,000 jobs at the submarine base. I've been a leader in cleaning up Long Island Sound and in working for and achieving reduction of air pollution. I have been able to obtain from the beginning, but more and more based on my seniority, funds for Connecticut defense industries, for Connecticut high-tech industries that create new jobs, and for Connecticut's transportation system and cities and towns and nonprofit organizations. So I've got a record of results against my opponent's no record and inexperience. And of course, I have priorities. I know what I want to do. I want to keep America safe. I want to fix our broken healthcare system. I want to make America energy independent. I want to get the bill that John McCain and I have introduced to do something about global warming passed. And I want to slowly begin to try to get America's books back in balance. There's a lot at stake in the next 6 years. That's actually why I continued my campaign after I lost the Democratic primary, because I just feel so strongly that I can do so much better a job for Connecticut and our country than Ned Lamont. And ultimately, I wanted to give, no matter what I think about how good a job I can do, ultimately, the judgment ought to be made by all the voters, Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And that's why I've continued in my independent campaign. So far, I've been very encouraged by the responses I've gotten. I think people are fed up with the partisanship. They appreciate my record of results, and they want me to continue working across party lines, standing up for what I think is right to get things done for Connecticut, and that's what I'm going to do.
Senator Lieberman, thank you very much.
Thank you. Very good.